Hi guys, welcome. Danny here from the Magic Junk Drawer. So I got an email today from somebody who requested a video about can you do a video on vibes and energies that we get from other people? This person keeps getting bad vibes from somebody who's very close to her and feels like this person's trying to outdo her, and in return she's not getting what she's putting into the situation. So it's like kind of feeling unbalanced, feeling a little bit like this person could be toxic, feeling like there could be some jealousy. So how do you deal with people like this? Well, it depends on your relationship with the person, and it depends on how much time you need to spend with that person. So I'll give you a couple examples. When I'm teaching yoga, it took me a long time to realize this, but I tend to hover around people that have good energy, and certain people like I don't want to go near. It's an intuitive thing. I didn't realize that I did it until I really started to pay attention to, like, I thought, oh, maybe I always stay in the back of the room, or maybe I always stay in the side of the room. But then I started to realize that I'm always in a different place in the room, but certain parts of the room intuitively feel different to me, and that's why I hang out in those places, or that's why I find myself there more. I tend to move around the room a lot, but I don't really stay near anyone whose energy is funky. Now, we all have moments where we have bad energy, where we may be feeling like angry or hostile or whatever the situation is, victimized by something. Like life has treated us unfairly and we come in with a bad attitude. I mean, that's just life. That's normal. But when somebody is repeatedly brings you down, the way that you deal with them is as little as possible. I know it sounds really rough, but it depends on the situation that you're in with that person. I had a friend of mine who I was friends with for years, and at some point it's like things started to get really crazy. But there was a whole group of friends, right? And I didn't realize that there was like drama that was going on because I wasn't really, like, I was around sometimes, I wasn't around all the time. So I didn't know everything that was going on in and out. I just, was around every now and again. So I wasn't around this group that often. Anyhow, as I became friends with this one person, at one point, like, he really turned on me, but he really flipped things around in like a really bizarre way. And it's funny because I was going through my emails recently and I came across the emails that he had sent me way back when, and this actually took place in January of 2009. Like, the things that he accused me of were, I mean, it was crazy. Now, I understand that when you're emailing with people, sometimes it's hard to understand what somebody is saying because it's open to interpretation when you're not listening to somebody talk. But I do remember specifically that he had a job interview to go on, and he said to me, I don't want to go on this job interview. I don't really want the job. He said that to me. So my answer to him was, well, if you don't want the job, then just don't even bother. Like, why make the effort if you know you don't want to do it? So I wasn't saying to him, fuck it, you're not going to get the job, don't even bother. Like, that's not what my intentions were. That's how he took it, or that's how he flipped it, and he came back at me with that. I would never ever tell somebody not to do something, ever, especially if it was something that they wanted to do. I was only trying to be supportive in him not going because it was what he wanted to do. He didn't want to go, so I was trying to be supportive in him not going. And then he had also said something about me not taking an illness of a family member seriously, which is also bullshit because I would never disregard somebody being like terminally sick. I mean, who does that? Anyway, this person's energy over the years has become so toxic that I had to sever ties several times. This person has come back in and out of my life several times, and I care about this person very much. But there's no, like, it's either you have to accept that you're going to be pissed off and aggravated every day, or you have to get out of the situation. And I had to get out of the situation. Like the lies, like always being a victim, always trying to like bring everybody down. Like I can't be around that because I can kind of fall down that rabbit hole myself. I don't need anybody else's help. So in a situation like that, because it was someone that was so close to me, I had to shut the door and that was it. Like I don't even speak to this person anymore. Now, sometimes that's an option. Like it could be a family member, or maybe somebody at work that you have to deal with. My suggestion would be to keep them on at arm's length. Deal with them as little as possible because they are not going to change unless they want to change. Like there are certain people that will let any situation victimize them. They're always the victim. It's always nobody loves me. I don't ever have any money. Nobody wants to be my friend. Nobody ever invites me out. But they don't ever look at themselves and see what they're doing. And then they get jealous and angry at other people because the other people's lives have moved forward. I think every one of us has gone through shitty situations and bad scenarios, and we've all had to, feel bad and be like, we just had to get through it, whatever the situation was. But sometimes, like, there is a person that is constantly negative and toxic. And the only way really to deal with that person is to not deal with them. You can't make somebody not be toxic. You cannot be around them, and that will limit you absorbing that. But what I found what was happening with this friend in particular is that I was making myself feel terrible trying to make him feel better. So let's say he was like, my life sucks, I don't have any money. And I would be like, well, I don't have any money either, and I work 2 jobs. Like, I'm constantly at work. I never have any time off, and I'm still struggling to make ends meet. So I would be trying to sympathize with him, but I was bringing myself so far down, trying to make him understand that he's not the only person that's going through this. He's had opportunities that he's chosen not to follow through. He's had a very supportive family. He just likes to be the victim. That's his personality or whatever the situation may be. And I would always try to make him feel better by bringing myself down, and it was becoming very toxic. And then you really never knew when he was going to turn it around. And then all of a sudden you were the bad guy. So you have to sometimes make a choice as to whether or not you want to keep these people in your life, if it's something that's repeated. To me, like, everybody's entitled to blow up, have a bad day, overreact. We're human, we do that. But when it's the same person over and over again that's causing you all of this toxicity, and there's no getting through these people, then you have to make the decision to have healthy boundaries, which is something that I have never been really good at. And I don't want this in my life. I'm not going to do this anymore. And like I said, it's been a struggle for me my whole life because I tend to be very empathetic and I feel bad and I don't want to make anybody feel rejected. I would rather be there and try to be a supportive friend. But when it becomes too much and it's over the top, you got to draw the line somewhere, because you're more important than, you have to be the most important person in your life. If you're not, then the universe is not going to reflect back to you that you're important. The universe is always going to put you second if you're putting yourself second. So I don't care who the toxic person is. If you're trying to make their life better by making your life worse, the universe is going to reflect that back to you, that you're second best and you're not as important. If you can't have healthy boundaries, then you're not going to have healthy boundaries, and you're going to be presented with more of those toxic people. Toxic people and narcissistic people tend to gravitate towards people who are very empathetic, because those are the people that they can manipulate. And manipulate. Like I said, this guy was trying to tell me that I was telling him, don't bother going to the job interview because you can't hold a job. First of all, I would never say that to anyone, and I don't believe that. I believe that he chooses not to hold a job because he wants to be a victim. That's what I believe. I believe he has the ability to hold the job. I believe that he has, I think he's very smart. I think he's very capable. He chooses this. So with him or with people like that, you can't argue with them because they're not going to listen to you. And then you wind up bringing yourself down and you absorb all that toxicity. And then when it's so frustrating, when somebody is accusing you of something that you know you're not doing, now you have to vent that to somebody else. So whether you go home and you tell your mom, you tell your brother, whoever, your best friend, now you're taking this toxic situation and you're telling it to somebody else. So there's a lot of energy that's going on around the situation, which then goes out into the universe and then that comes back to us. So as little amount of contact as you can possibly have with these people, in my opinion, is the best thing that you can do, especially if you have a high level of empathy. Because you don't want them to use you as their supply, which is what can happen. Toxic people and manipulating people will feed off of anyone that will allow them to do that. If you don't allow them to, they can't. The thing is that we tend to have a hard time with the boundaries, especially people that are very empathetic, because we don't want to make somebody feel bad. But sometimes you don't have a choice. Your mental state and your sanity and your auric field are more important than anything else. And that a lot of the times I feel like it's that other person just needs to grow and mature a little bit, and then they won't be acting that way. In any relationship, it can't be one way. It cannot be one way. The relationship won't function. It can ebb and flow. Like if your best friend and her boyfriend break up and you need to be there a little bit more for her for the next couple of months, okay. But then when you go through something, now all of a sudden she's back helping you, that's different. But when it's always one person that is catering to the other person and trying to build the other person up, and you're not getting anything back, they're sucking the life out of you. It's time to cut them out, or at least cut them down. Make excuses, be busy doing something else, have another outlet of some type, because it's unhealthy. And like the jealousy thing, it can't hurt you because jealousy only hurts the person that's putting it out. So if you're sending out jealousy, that's going to come back to you. You're going to find more reasons to be jealous of more people. If you compare yourself to anybody, you're always going to come up short. That's just the way it is. There's somebody, there'll always be someone who is smarter, prettier, has a better ass, has a larger bank account, is better liked, is funnier, has a better personality. There always will be. So that's why we have to not compare ourselves with other people. But if you have that jealousy thing, you're putting that out into the universe, it comes back quickest to you. So that their jealousy isn't going to hurt you, but the negativity can be absorbed. So you walk into a room where there's a stand-up comedian and everyone in the room is laughing, chances are you're going to end up laughing too. Like laughter is contagious. Well, also negativity is contagious. So if you spend a lot of time with negative people, they're going to bring you down. So even though the jealous person really can't hurt you unless they're physically trying to hurt you, just them being jealous and toxic, that won't hurt you. The negativity can be absorbed, especially if you're somebody who's got a lot of empathy. You will absorb that negativity and it will drain you of all your energy, and you need to protect that. Some people are really good at protecting their energy, some people aren't, and sometimes that can be, depend on the day. But I think it's really important to put yourself first, put your wants and needs first, and make sure that you spend as little amount of time with these people as possible. They need to work on themselves. There's nothing anyone else is going to be able to do. It's like, my best friend's an alcoholic. How can I save her? You can't save her. Nobody can save her. She has to save herself. It's the same thing with these people. You can't fix a toxic person. They need to work on themselves. And they can. You can work on yourself. You can get to the root of what you're jealous of. You can work through all those reasons why you're envious of other people. You can also figure out what it is that makes you feel bad about yourself and not as good as the person that you're jealous of. But that person has to be willing to do the work. Nobody can come along and put a band-aid on somebody and fix them. It just doesn't work that way. We only have ourselves that we're responsible for, and we have enough with ourselves. So I hope that helps. If you feel like somebody is negative and jealous, the best suggestion that I can say is to spend as much time away from them as possible and tell them the least about what's going on in your life. because they don't need to know every detail. They don't need to know good things or bad things. Just be a little bit short with them, and keep a safe distance. Cut the time down. Anyway, I hope that helps. As always, if you like what we're doing here at the Magic Junk Drawer, please like, subscribe, and share us with your friends. And we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.